Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eric Morales from Eric Morales Photography, and here with another quick tutorial on a few things that I have discovered when you processing raw images. So, if you open up your Lightroom, and this is a picture that I took in studio on the warehouse in Cocoa, Florida, and you can see this image. I shot this in RAW, and I white balanced the camera in studio. And there's a few advantages of when you shoot in RAW, and then you bring it into post processing. Number one thing, we just gonna have to white balance it again just in case. Now, because I have a gray background, I could just simply just click anywhere. And then what we're gonna do here in Lightroom, this is Lightroom 5. We're gonna go all the way to the bottom, and you see right here where it says camera calibration. We are going to change the profile, because you know how the profiles on your camera doesn't apply to the raw image in the camera. So we're gonna do it here in Lightroom. So I'm gonna pick a camera neutral, and you see how nice and cool kind of look it gives, because now it balanced. Now it apply the profile from a camera right here in the post processing, which is kind of cool. And then, you know, what we're gonna do after that, we're just gonna tweak it a little bit, you know, play around with some of the shadows and the highlights. And what we're gonna do, we're just going to go to here in the highlights, probably around 24. And then the shadows minus 24, just to keep that kind of balance on there. And then the whites, maybe about 10%. And then on the blacks, same thing. We just want, you see, like how the hat looks kind of grayish, not completely black. So we're just gonna maybe about 20%. So right about there, I think it looks good. You know, maybe we could add a little clarity, you know, between 0 and 15. That's where I like to keep it. So I'm just gonna punch in here a value of 14. And then what we are going to do, even though I think right about there still looks good, we're just gonna play around with this a little bit more, maybe add more highlights to it, maybe about 20. Maybe the light, maybe 2%. Then the darks, right about there. Maybe the shadows, maybe about minus 13, just to keep that balance in between the darks and the shadows. Then once we got that set, you know, we're just gonna sharpen the image, maybe about 66%, I'll say. So now that I'm looking at this, you know, everything is looking pretty good. The image is sharpened. It's like we did everything that we had to do. Now we're gonna send this into Photoshop for processing. But I just wanted to do this quick tutorial on how to process some raw images inside Lightroom. Like I said, even though I white balance the camera in studio, I still come in here and redo it again. And since you can't really apply the profiles into the camera, so you could still do it here, I like to use it in, you know, neutral, because it kind of neutralizes all those colors and, you know, some of these color shifts that you get when you're shooting. And areas like this, there's colors and there's light bouncing off all these colors and bring it in here. So what I do, I just like to keep it neutral. And, you know, then after that, you just play around with the highlights and the shadows. I mean, you can still play around with the temperature if you like. Maybe add a little contrast. I'll say 25%. I'll say right about there looks good. If you want to punch the vibrance a little bit or decrease it, I mean, it's up to you. Depends on what kind of look you're going for. I mean, like I tell people, there's no such thing as a right way of doing things. It's just whatever you think is best for your liking, and then the input of the client, and whatever or however they want it. So, but most importantly, everything it's in your own critique first. However you like it. So once you find your flow or your workflow, it's like just apply this to your workflow if you like. If you don't like, hey, it's still good. Just keep going with what you're doing. Because, like I said, I don't claim my way is the best way because there's no such thing, and I'm gonna repeat that over and over again. And but I'll say right there looks good. The model got some nice skins. You got a nice skin, and then after that, whatever you want to do, you could bring this into Photoshop, tweak some more, maybe you can get rid of this right here and this here. I mean, baseboard, it ain't much I could do about that. It was still my shot. But right about there, I'll say it looks good. So maybe until next time, this is Eric Morales from Eric Morales Photography here in Melbourne, Florida, and I hope you have a great day.